what is the standard price of a air purifier that we might buy for this room? Do you know? क्या कितने का पड़ेगा? Amazon खोल के देख.
You can get like 5,000 to 1.5 lakhs, like
right.
you
So
mentioned.
like if I'm buying a mass premium product, I'm still paying about 20, 15, 17.
So like the big brand everyone buys, right? The cheapest will be 27,000 and the next one is around 56,000 in that.
एक बार खोलियो, मेरे को देखना है कि सबसे फेवरेट प्रोडक्ट क्या दिख रहा है on Amazon. What is the most common price point that people buy this at? Because I want to understand how 55,000. Because you know Indians can get extremely price sensitive for no reason. Like मैं तेरे को बोल रहा हूँ तू 20,000 रुपए खर्च रहा है, तू 20 और खर्च, तेरे को बेस्ट प्रोडक्ट मिल जाएगा, होंगे जेब में, लेकिन वो बिल्कुल उसका दिमाग बंद हो जाएगा. तू 20 और खर्चने की बात कर रहा है. 6, 6.5, 13.
These are all really tiny ones.
These are very tiny ones.
Yeah, so if you go into performance, like good ones are like Sharp. Not this model, but they have 15, 20K, like the 20K Sharp. Right. That's a reasonable one to get.
Right.
Then there's the Kove, not this cheap one, but Kove has another 40,000 one, which is really nice.
Right.
So those are the real air purifiers. Then Xiaomi has this I think 15,000 which most people buy today. So this is what is abundantly selling. And then there are, in Delhi you'll find a lot of Dysons.
Yeah.
In Bombay also, Dyson is now a showpiece in the house. It's not really a...
It's like your Bose.
Yeah, so they have the Dyson, but then they have 2 other air purifiers so that the air is actually clean in the room. I mean, I'm nothing against Dyson.
This is entrepreneur humor or what? This is you roasting?
No. I mean, it's a great looking product, but yeah, see, this is 40, but I don't know what is 40. So they have like a 57,000 one, which is the 68. This is what the rich people use.
Yeah, this is what rich people use.
Yeah.
It's so spot on. Because this is the one I'm imagining. I have a very rich friend. मैं उसके घर जाता हूँ, यही लगा हुआ है. You've seen it. You know which one I'm talking about. This is like the Range Rover of rich people. Like, you know, ऐसे Range Rover खरीद लेते हैं, वैसे ही खरीद लेते हैं.
I think you should try the Hive. You'll change your mind. But I mean, commercial stuff aside, I think the thought process was very early in our conversation. I said, how do you build urgency? You build urgency through aspiration. So if you build the best product people have ever seen and it becomes a show-off factor, that's when people will spend the money.
That's your Apple playbook. This is Steve Jobs.
Well, to some extent, but if you look at it from a problem-solving perspective, Steve Jobs was, hey, I want people to not think about price. He said the computer is a bicycle for the mind. So he made all Apple products very creative. Air purifier is not a creative, like it's not helping you produce things, but it's helping you be safe. But now if you can make it such that a billionaire will keep it in their living room and talk to 5 people who come to this house about it, you've landed it, right?
Oh,
so So now if it becomes a show-off factor, people just want it, just like the fitness bands and rings, right? Whoop was designed for athletes. Everyone's wearing a Whoop band. Like you perhaps don't even work out and you have a Whoop band, right? So I get it's bought from the aspirational value that is giving me some data about my health and everyone has it, so I should have it. So if you take that approach of, hey, we build the best thing people have seen, but its performance is addicting. If you make the performance addicting, you make it look cool, put features that nobody else has put, suddenly the air purifier becomes a purchase conversation during Diwali.
Yeah, it becomes jewelry at that point,
yes.
Right? Yeah. Bro, you know what is very interesting about you? And I think Varun was right. Varun Duggirala, who connected us or who gave me your number. You really thought about this problem in more than one dimension. Mm-hmm. And I think probably most dimensions. I'm pretty sure you've got most bases covered. And why I'm saying this is, a lot of people around me or a lot of people I meet will have entrepreneurial instinct, right? Mm-hmm. They would want to do X or Y or Z. And they'd think about, okay, why not do clothes? Sure, you could do clothes. The trouble is inventory management. You would not know how many quantities to buy because you don't know how many quantities you can sell. So it's a large capital problem, and sometimes your capital can get stuck, which means you can lose if, sure. Right? So, okay, somebody thought inventory management. They didn't think branding. They didn't think marketing channels. They didn't think... And for standard businesses, there's a playbook. Clothing businesses have a playbook. You can incrementally go up or down depending on... Your business is completely unique. And not only is it unique, everything from creating the technology, which is pure hard science, to then figuring out marketing, production line, finish, all of this, branding, how you want it to be sold. You want word of mouth from billionaires who will talk about it because it's a jewelry product. You've really thought about this problem. And what reflects in you thinking about this problem is that you've taken a very first principles approach. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen you really say something I could predict. There's not a repeat value. Suna hua ye model, like I tried to say, this is the Apple thing. It's a very interesting way of thinking about it. And I'm curious if that's an active mental model you use, कि मैं problem देख रहा हूँ तो first principle देखूंगा. Do you turn that on
sometimes
or off?
like most times it's worked really well in my favor, and sometimes it backfired. So most times when I say it's worked really well is like, for example, one thing I talk about all the time is not actually air pollution, it's talent. The challenge for Pran that came out of it is because we're inventing, you're bending rules of science. To bend rules of science, you should know the rules of science. If you never learned the fundamentals well enough in school, like we were forced, like we were choked down electrical engineering fundamentals because I won't clear the test, right? I don't want to repeat this really hard class because it's already a nuisance to deal with, right? So today also, if you put me in Pran's own engineering interview, I can at least get out of that interview because I know that, hey, they're only going to test fundamentals. This is cleared. If they ask me about the latest library or something, I won't know because I haven't written code in 4-5 years. But that's our entire interview process, right? We'll hard press you on fundamentals, whether you're a salesperson, design person, I'll just see how you're thinking, your exposure levels, and so on. Now, why it became really hard to hire for Pran is we're a deep tech company, you're inventing things, then you want to manufacture these things. Imagine if my product blows up in a Tata Steel, what's going to happen, right? The company is going to be bankrupt. You're going to have loss of life on the shop floor. You're going to have reputational issues. Your investors are going to screw, and you're going to cause damage to a large corporation.
And you'll be sued. You'll be legally dragged.
So I cannot bet that risk on an engineer who cannot solve Ohm's law questions in the interview, right? That scares the life out of me. Or a structural engineer who cannot say, hey, at this force, this structure is going to have a moment in this direction. If you don't know that, there's no way you're touching my device. And even if you build the device, the speed at which we need to move, because it's venture scale, our prototypes are developed in like days, not in months and years, right? So a good example is Pran's carbon capture system was built in less than 60 days. A traditional company takes a couple of years to get to that same scale.
You said couple of years in 20 days?
So what we did is built in 60 days.
60 days.
Yeah.
2 months.
2 months.
And 2 years.
Yeah. And that's after spending millions of dollars for a traditional large company. Now, how do you do this?
How do you?
It's talent, man. Like you should, like the ability to decipher what is worth pursuing, how to hack these processes. Is this test worth running, or I should change the test, right? So that I get the desired outcome that this business or the product needs to achieve, not some random scientific paper. Because what we do is we build it, we see if the outcome gets achieved, then we push it through certification agencies. That, hey, this is what the gold standard is. I know the product will do it, then let the third party verify it. Instead of saying I'm going to go based on all the literature in the world, etc., we'll do literature survey in like 48 hours. That these are the things we need to know. What is it that people have done? What works, doesn't work? And we'll keep reading as we go along. But people are working 7 days a week, non-stop. And imagine giving really talented people freedom to build with a really ambitious goal. And you know, give them the platform that what you build will suddenly impact, 100 million people. Or for example, carbon capture, our deadline is before 2029, we want to remove 100 million tons of CO2 per year, just Pran. It's really hard, right? But because the bar is set so high, suddenly your talent bar is also really high. Now, one of my investors in Hong Kong, told me in 2022, when I had written to all our investors saying I'm really struggling on talent, there's never been an Apple or a Tesla to come out of India. Where do I hire from?
Agree.
India loses 7 lakh engineers per year. They all go to Silicon Valley or Germany. They're sitting there. So when our foreign investors tell us that, hey, the smartest engineers are Indian, I said, yeah, but they're in your country.
They're Indians, not in India.
Yeah. So there's a significant talent issue. And this investor in Hong Kong told me there's 1 billion people, you're telling me you can't find it. Maybe you don't know how to hire. Today, that same narrative has come back to say that, hey, they've actually had an incredible team in India. But there is now if they want to go from the current scale to becoming a Tesla equivalent, they need a global team. And so the team needs to be around the world, which is where Pran is today.
So you're trying to hire people around the world now?
Yeah, so like last night, most of the interviews until 3:30 this morning were people in the Bay Area. That we're currently hiring for. So we are scaling our India team. By all means, we have an incredible India team. And we're also scaling leadership in the Valley so that Pran gets this best of both worlds. Right? I think India is the best place to build climate tech out of. You're next to a large population. Anything you do will have large measurable impact. You can produce technology at scale, which you otherwise cannot at those cost points, say in the US. And then if you use the Silicon Valley mindset, risk-taking ability, capital and speed, you've created, almost like an unfair advantage by operating in India, but having this Silicon Valley team and mindset and even some customers there to build out the company.
So, what struck me about what you were saying is we are able to run literature surveys in 48 hours, and we are able to do things in 2 months that would take large companies.
Not always, but I'm just saying we've done this in the past.
But you've markedly taken, what you said was, we built the first prototype in $2 million where it generally would have taken $50 million.
Yeah.
So there's a measurable multiple of 25 that you've reduced, right? And you say that's all because of good talent.
Yes.
Now, I agree with our common friend Varun. It does sound too good to be true that you could reduce, I think the number one blocker in another man attempting to fly to space is, well, the technology obstacle will arrive, but the first obstacle is ambition, and ambition is limited by capital. Nobody sits there and is like, Mars chalte hain. Kaun laega crore rupees, right? Yeah. And so what I'm trying to say is that capital is a huge blocker in setting up extremely innovative businesses.
But money follows momentum, right? So if you took the Mars example. So I serve on the board of a program called the Strategic Lander Challenge in the US. So basically giving out grants to students to build reusable rockets, right? I'm not saying build a rocket that'll go to Mars. I'm saying build a tiny rocket. First demonstrate you can do a static fire, which is just build the engine, show me that it's generating certain thrust and it goes through the force cycle. Second is show me thrust vector propulsion, which is move that engine around like a SpaceX rocket does so it can direct itself to land. Third is a hop. Get it up to a certain height and get it back down, right? Fourth is launch, go to, just get to space and then come back down. For each stage, we give $50,000, $100,000. And this was founded by an ex-Pran engineer in the US who, after Pran went to SpaceX, left SpaceX and started. It's a not-for-profit funded by all the people I told you, before, before this conversation. And so the money is following the fact that, hey, you're building something, you're making progress, right? How did we get to a grant from Tyler Cowen? We had already built some things, right? So he can build conviction that, hey, if I give them $50,000, $100,000, they'll at least get someplace better. Now, what we did in 2 million would take another company 50 million to accomplish in the US. So suddenly we've built so much progress that momentum, and now the commercial momentum is what perhaps is the only thing someone can bet on and say that, hey, we'll give them more money. You can't wait for money to come to you. Start somewhere, right?
Are you saying that this multiple reduction of 25 is happening because you're over leveraged on talent? Like you have so much talent that you can reduce the cost of your prototype by 25 multiples?
I wouldn't say over leveraged. I think it's just knowing where to put your money.
We have barely scratched the surface with this clip. If you want to know all the fun stuff that happened in this conversation, you've got to go to our main channel. Click now.